man, not man for the Sabbath. Mark 2:27. And he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Clearing up misunderstandings. Many people today believe that Jesus is their Sabbath, or that the Sabbath can be any day of the week. These interpretations contradict both scripture and historical understanding. Let's examine what Yeshua, Jesus, truly meant and why the seventh-day Sabbath remains significant. What Yeshua actually meant. Context of the statement. Yeshua made this statement in response to the Pharisees who criticized his disciples for plucking grain on the Sabbath. Mark 2:23-28. The Pharisees had burdened the Sabbath with man-made traditions that made it oppressive rather than a blessing. Yeshua corrected them by stating that the Sabbath was created to benefit mankind, not to enslave them. The purpose of the Sabbath. The Sabbath was established at creation, Genesis 2:2-3, as a day of rest and spiritual connection with the Creator. It was sanctified and blessed by Yah, God, and set apart as a holy day. The Sabbath was designed for physical rest, spiritual renewal, and communion with Yah, two kinds of people. Just like in Yeshua's time, there are still two types of people when it comes to the Sabbath. Those who honor Yah's Sabbath. These people recognize that the seventh-day Sabbath, Saturday, is a commandment from Yah. They understand that keeping the Sabbath is an act of obedience and love. They set apart the day to worship, rest, and reflect on Yah's goodness, honoring his original design. They do not follow the man-made tradition of Sunday worship, but stick to what Yah has declared. They are willing to go against the crowd and keep the Sabbath, despite society's pressure to conform to different practices. Those who follow human tradition, these people believe that any day can be a Sabbath, or claim that Jesus is their Sabbath, replacing the day of rest with a concept rather than observing it physically. They follow church traditions that change the Sabbath to Sunday without biblical support. They might use phrases like, "Every day is a Sabbath," to justify not honoring the specific day Yah commanded. They are often influenced by modern teachings and doctrines that dismiss the importance of the original Sabbath. They see the Sabbath as legalism rather than a gift of rest. Which one are you? Are you the person who honors Yah's holy day as a sign of obedience, or do you follow traditions of men that change Yah's appointed times? Myth 1. Jesus is my Sabbath. This claim is unbiblical. Nowhere in Scripture does it state that Yeshua replaced the Sabbath or that he became the Sabbath. Yeshua's death and resurrection did not abolish the Sabbath, but fulfilled the ceremonial sacrifices, not the moral commandment of rest. What did Yeshua do? He honored the Sabbath throughout his life. Luke 4:16. Yeshua healed and taught on the Sabbath, demonstrating its purpose as a day of restoration and mercy. He never instructed his followers to abandon the Sabbath. Myth 2. The Sabbath can be any day of the week. Biblical command. The fourth commandment clearly states, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God." Exodus 20:8-10. The seventh day is explicitly Saturday, not any random day chosen by individuals. Sabbath is fixed, not flexible. Yah himself set apart the seventh day as holy, not mankind. Yeshua kept the Sabbath on Saturday according to Yah's law and did not redefine it. The Sabbath is not burdensome, a gift, not a burden. The Sabbath was created to bless humanity, giving them a day of rest and reflection. Yah intended the Sabbath to be joyful, refreshing, and a time to focus on Him. Religious leaders made it oppressive. The Pharisees turned the Sabbath into a list of rules that made it difficult to observe. Yeshua's statement was meant to restore the Sabbath to its original purpose, a blessing, not a burden. Modern misinterpretations and pagan influence Sunday worship. The change from Sabbath to Sunday was made by Roman authorities and the early Catholic Church, not by Yeshua or the apostles. This change was influenced by pagan sun worship and the Roman calendar, not biblical instruction. Traditions of men. Modern churches often teach that any day of the week can be the Sabbath, contradicting Yah's commandment. Yeshua warned against teaching human traditions as doctrines from Yah. Mark 7:7-8. Why it matters today, a sign of obedience. The Sabbath is a sign between Yah and His people. Exodus 31:13. Honoring the Sabbath demonstrates obedience and loyalty to Yah's covenant. Spiritual rest and renewal. The Sabbath offers a weekly opportunity to disconnect from worldly distractions and focus on spiritual growth. Standing against false teachings. By adhering to the true Sabbath, believers resist the compromise of biblical truth with man-made traditions. Conclusion: the Sabbath was made for man's benefit, to provide rest and communion with Yah. Yeshua did not replace the Sabbath with Himself or redefine it as any day of the week. Instead, He upheld its importance and demonstrated how to keep it holy without burdensome traditions. Today, keeping the seventh-day Sabbath is an act of faithfulness and obedience to Yah. It signifies a commitment to follow Yeshua's example and remain set apart from worldly customs. Which kind of person will you be? Will you be the one who follows Yah's commandment with sincerity, or the one who follows human traditions that stray from biblical truth? The choice is yours.